She looked straight into my eyes. Called me her missing sister. And then she said my real name. A name I buried. The day I chose success over everything. I became a billionaire. But lost the only person who ever saw me before the world did. Years later, she came back. Not to celebrate me, but to remind me of what I destroyed to become who I am. Now I have one chance to risk everything I built for something I once walked away from. The question is, can a man who chose money over love ever earn love back again? She grabbed my hand, like she had been drowning for years. And I was air. Sister. Her voice cracked. Soft. Aching. Certain. I froze. I had been called many things in my life. Liar. Failure. Burden. But never family. I think you are mistaken, I said. Gently. Because something in her eyes felt too fragile to break. She stepped closer. Close enough for me to smell jasmine and rain and something painfully familiar. You left me, she whispered. Not accusing. Just broken. My chest tightened. Because I knew that feeling. Abandonment had raised me. I built my empire from it. Brick by brick. Deal by deal. Night after sleepless night. A billionaire now. They said I was unstoppable. They did not see the hunger. The silence. The empty chair across every table. I am not your sister, I said again. Firmer this time. She stared at me, studying my face, as if searching for truth beneath skin. Then, her expression changed. Not confusion. Recognition. And then she said my name. The one I buried. The one I erased. When I chose success over everything, my breath disappeared. No one knows that name, I whispered. She smiled. Through tears. Through years of pain. I do, she said. I never stopped knowing you. My world shifted. Because in that moment, I realized she was not mistaking me. She was reminding me of who I used to be. Before ambition made me ruthless. Before I walked away from love. Before I became powerful. And painfully alone. She held my hand tighter. Not to trap me, but to bring me back. And for the first time in years, my strength felt small. And my heart felt seen. Her fingers trembled. But they did not let go. Do you remember the night you left? She asked. Softly. As if the memory itself could shatter. I wanted to say no. I wanted to protect the version of myself that had survived by forgetting. But truth has a way of rising, like a wound that never healed. Yes, I said. And suddenly, I was no longer standing in a polished lobby, wrapped in wealth and silence. I was back. In that narrow room. Paint peeling. Rain leaking through the ceiling. Dreams too large for the space we had. You promised you would come back, she said. Each word. Gentle. But heavy enough to crush me. I promised many things, I replied. My voice lower now. Stripped of power. Of pride. And you broke all of them. There was no anger in her tone. That hurt more. Because anger burns fast. But disappointment lingers. Quiet. Endless. I had nothing, I said. Defending a ghost. I needed to become something. She nodded slowly. And you did, she said. her eyes scanning the expensive suit, the polished watch, the empire I wore like armor. But tell me. She stepped closer again. Did it cost you less than what you left behind? The question landed. Deeper than any loss. Deeper than betrayal. Deeper than every lonely night I buried under success. I opened my mouth. But no answer came. Because I knew the truth. Every victory had her absence in it. Every milestone echoed with silence. I waited, she said. Her voice barely holding together now. Not for your money. Not for your success. Just for you. My chest ached. Sharp. Unfamiliar. No deal. No risk. No failure had ever made me feel this exposed. I thought if I became enough, I could come back and fix everything, I admitted. She shook her head. Gently. Almost with pity. Some things do not wait to be fixed, she said. They need to be chosen. When they matter most. The words settled in me. Like truth I had been running from. For years. And for the first time. My success felt incomplete. Like a story. Missing its soul. I looked at her. Really looked this time. Not as a memory. Not as a mistake. But as the reason. I had ever wanted more. And slowly. With a heart I no longer recognized. I said. Tell me. Is it too late for me to come back? She did not answer immediately. Her silence was louder than anything she had said before. Her silence stretched. Thin. Fragile. Like a thread deciding whether to break. She looked away. For the first time. Since she found me. That hurt more than her words ever could. I do not know, she finally said. Honest. Unprotected. Real. And somehow. That truth felt heavier than rejection. Because hope still existed. But it was no longer mine to control. What do I have to do? I asked. Not as a billionaire. Not as a man who always won. But as someone who had finally realized what he lost. She exhaled slowly. As if releasing years of waiting. Years of quiet pain. Years of loving someone who chose ambition over her. You cannot buy your way back, she said. Soft. But firm. I know. You cannot rebuild this. The way you built your empire. I know that too. Her eyes returned to mine. Searching. Not for wealth. Not for power. But for truth. Then why now, she asked. Why come back? After everything is gone? I swallowed hard. Because nothing is gone, I said. My voice unsteady. For the first time in years. You are still here. Her expression flickered. Pain. Hope. Fear. All colliding at once. And if I was not? The question cut deep. Because I had lived that reality. Every single day. Without even admitting it. Then I would still be lost, I said. Quietly. Just with more money. Something in her eyes softened. Just a little. But not enough. Not yet. You left when things were hard, she said. Her voice barely above a whisper. What makes you think you will stay when they become hard again? I stepped closer now. Not to convince her. But to stand where I should have. Years ago. Because now I understand, I said. Strength is not leaving to become something. It is staying. When everything inside you wants to run. The air between us shifted. Not healed. But no longer broken in the same way. She studied me again. Longer this time. As if measuring the man I had become. Against the one she once loved. And slowly. She reached out. Not fully. Not completely. But enough. Enough to give me something I did not deserve. A chance. Her hand hovered in the space between us. Uncertain. Fragile. Real. I did not rush. For the first time in my life. I did not chase. I did not take. I waited. Because some things are not meant to be claimed. They are meant to be earned back. Slowly. Honestly. With truth. When her fingers finally touched mine. It was not fire. It was something deeper. Familiar. Aching. Alive. I cannot promise you anything, she said. Her voice steady now. But still carrying years of quiet storms. I am not asking for promises, I replied. Softly. I am asking for a chance to prove. I can keep one. She searched my face again. As if looking for the man. Who once walked away. And the one. Standing in front of her now. You hurt me, she said. Not loudly. Not angrily. But in a way. That made every success I ever had. Feel meaningless. I know. You left me when I needed you the most. Each word. A truth I could not escape. I know. And I had to become strong. Without you. That one stayed. It settled deep. Because I could see it. In the way she stood. In the way she spoke. In the strength behind her softness. And I am proud of you, I said. Not to comfort her. But because it was true. She looked surprised. As if she did not expect anything sincere from me anymore. I do not need your pride, she replied. A step back. Not physical. But emotional. I need your presence. The words hit harder than anything before. Because presence could not be bought. Could not be delayed. Could not be replaced. It had to be given. Fully. Consistently. Without escape. I am here now, I said. But even as I spoke. I knew. Being here once. Meant nothing. She knew it too. Her eyes lowered briefly. Then lifted again. Stronger. Then stay, she said. Not as a request. But as a test. Of everything I claimed to understand. The world around us moved. People passing. Voices blending. Life continuing. But in that moment. Everything depended. On what I did next. I tightened my grip. Not to hold her back. But to anchor myself. To a moment I once would have abandoned. I will stay, I said. And this time. The words did not come from ambition. They came from understanding. Earned too late. But still breathing. She watched me carefully. Not believing. Not doubting. Just watching. Staying is not a sentence you say, she replied. It is a life you live. I nodded. Because I had lived the opposite. For too long. What do I do? I asked. A question I had never asked anyone before. Not investors. Not partners. Not the world that called me powerful. She took a slow breath. As if choosing whether to trust. Or protect herself again. You start small, she said. Smaller than your ego will like. A faint smile touched her lips. Not warmth. But memory. You listen. When it is uncomfortable. I can do that. You stay. When it gets hard. I will. And you do not disappear. When things begin to matter. That one landed deepest. Because that was exactly when I had left. I understand, I said. But she shook her head gently. No, she whispered. You are beginning to. The honesty in her voice did not wound me. It grounded me. For once. I did not need to be right. I needed to be better. A silence settled between us again. But this one felt different. Less like distance. More like space. Being rebuilt. Then suddenly. Her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. And something in her face changed. Not fear. Not sadness. Something heavier. Responsibility. I have to go, she said quickly. Pulling her hand away. Before I could react. Wait. I stopped myself. Because chasing her now would feel like the old me. The one who only acted when something was slipping away. She stepped back. One step. Then another. If you are serious, she said. Her voice steady. But her eyes uncertain. Then do not find me when it is easy. My chest tightened. Find me. When it costs you something. And just like that. She turned. And walked away. Disappearing into a crowd. That did not know. She had just taken my entire world with her. I stood there. Still. Silent. But no longer lost in the same way. Because now. I knew exactly what I had to risk. And for the first time. Success did not feel like winning. It felt like something I might have to leave behind. The noise of the city returned. Sharp. Restless. Indifferent. Cars moved. People rushed. Life continued. As if nothing had changed. But everything had. I stood there. Long after she disappeared. My hands still remembering. The warmth of hers. My chest still carrying. The weight of her words. Find me when it costs you something. For years. I had measured cost. In money. In risk. In numbers that climbed higher each day. But this was different. This was not about losing wealth. This was about losing control. That night. I sat alone. In a room too large. Too quiet. Too empty for a man called successful. The city light stretched below me. Cold. Distant. Like everything I had built. I opened my laptop. Meetings. Deals. Expansions worth millions. All waiting for me. All depending on me. This was the life I fought for. The life I chose. Over her. My fingers hovered. Over the keyboard. And for the first time. I hesitated. Because I knew. If I stepped away now. Even for a moment. Things could fall apart. Investors would question. Partners would doubt. The empire could crack. In places I could not predict. This was the cost. Not comfort. Not convenience. But everything I had spent years becoming. I leaned back. Closing my eyes. And suddenly. I was not thinking about money. Or power. Or fear of losing status. I was thinking about her. Waiting. Growing stronger without me. Learning to live. Without ever needing me again. That thought. Terrified me. More than failure ever had. I stood up slowly. My decision forming. Not from impulse. But from something deeper. Something I had ignored for years. I reached for my phone. Scrolled through contacts. That meant nothing in that moment. Then stopped. Because I did not have her number. Of course I did not. I had left. Before she could ever reach me again. A hollow feeling spread through my chest. But instead of panic, there was clarity. If I wanted to find her, it would not be easy. It would not be quick. It would cost me time. Months passed. Not in comfort, but in quiet persistence. I searched for her. Not like a man chasing something lost, but like someone learning to deserve what he once had. I walked streets I had forgotten. Spoke to people I once ignored. Sat in places where success meant nothing. Only presence did. I lost deals. Missed opportunities. Watched parts of my empire begin to fade. And for the first time, I did not fight it. Because I finally understood. Not everything that grows is meant to be kept. And not everything lost is failure. One evening, as the sun softened into gold, I found her. Not by luck, but by patience. By change. By becoming someone who no longer ran from what mattered. She stood there. Simpler than my world, but richer in everything mine lacked. This time, I did not speak first. I let my presence say what words once failed to. She looked at me. Long. Deep. Searching. You stayed, she said. Not a question. A realization. I learned how, I replied. Quiet. Steady. True. There was no rush this time. No fear. No illusion to break. Just two people. Standing in truth. Without pretending. Without running. She stepped closer. And this time, her hand found mine. Without hesitation. Not fragile. Not uncertain. But choosing. I do not need who you were, she said. Her voice calm. Strong. Kind. I need who you are becoming. A warmth spread through me. Not the loud kind. But the kind that stays. The kind that builds. The kind that heals. And in that moment, I realized. Success was never the empire I built. It was the person I became. When I was willing to lose it. For something real. Because in the end, money can build a life. But only love, presence, and courage can make it worth living.